Hey, welcome back. Talking Redskins, talking NFL, on an active, busy day and a busy week around the league. Free agency about to open. J.I. Halsell joins us now on the show. Managed a salary cap for the Redskins, and now he's actually a salary cap expert, right, for a few little publications. Yeah. You can never talk about the economics in the NFL enough now, and it's a different year now, and the Redskins are talking about that. I want to get your take on the moves they made today. Anything surprise you about the list of players released?
Not really. Knowing those contracts and kind of where those guys are in their careers, this is a great opportunity in the uncapped year for the Redskins from a salary cap management perspective to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And kind of get away from that philosophy of, paying veteran players a lot of money, and perhaps and hopefully they get to a philosophy where they're building through the draft now, and instead of tying up a bunch of money in these veteran guys. And so you see a lot of those guys now getting released.
It's interesting, Rock Cartwright, 30 years old. Guy was a 7th-round pick, so props to him that he's carved out a league. Most 7th-round picks don't even make it. Randy Thomas, 34 years old, coming off an injury. Liddell Betts, a knee injury, a veteran player. I think he still has some game left in him, but the injury, I was thinking he would have been a perfect Mike Shanahan type back, one-cut runner, but the injury, and hopefully he gets an opportunity. Antoine Randall, he's a veteran player, punt returner who was not that productive at this point in his career. Cornelius Griffin, 30. So these are the kind of players that teams around the league, because there's no cap, no ramifications, can say goodbye to.
Right. I mean, you've seen it on other teams. LaDainian Tomlinson kind of gets the boot. Thomas Jones is going to probably get released. So you see these guys who are 30-plus years old who are
Lavernius Cole in
Cincinnati. And there's a rumor that Jamal Williams, the nose tackle in San Diego, could potentially be getting released. So it's those guys that are 30-plus years old with high salaries that teams are letting go in this type of environment.
And so in a weird way, had it been a regular year with a cap, would the Redskins have been able to clean house like this, or would there have been major ramifications on the cap?
Yeah, not to this extent where you're releasing 5 or 7 veteran players with high salaries, because you'd incur a lot of dead money, meaning, an Antoine Randall, for an example, his money that's counting against team salary this year is actually going to increase by virtue of this termination. Let's say hypothetically he would have been $4 million in team salary this year. Now by virtue of this termination, he saves $6 million. And when you have a salary cap in place, obviously that precludes you from making other moves. So now that we don't have a salary cap in place, you can go ahead and release a lot of these veteran players without any ramification.
And I was asking you about some of the guys they tendered. Carlos Rogers, not real happy about it. He said he would like to move on, get a look somewhere else. The cornerback, Rocky McIntosh, he wasn't real thrilled with it. I know, I can understand, because they were hoping to get an extension. If you're playing football for a living, you like to have 4 years of money, not 1. Right. But with the tender, you made an interesting point. They don't have to show up for off-season stuff because they don't have clauses or bonuses. Nothing is in their contract at this point. So if you're disgruntled,
you can just hold tight, stay at home for a little while. The restricted free agent tender essentially is just a 1-year contract that just has your salary. That's it. There are no incentives, there's no workout bonus or anything. And so, until you sign that tender, you're not under contract. And the job of your agent, and not to say that this is going to happen, but the job of Rocky's agent or Carlos's agent is to try to get an offer sheet executed on a Rocky McIntosh or a Carlos Rogers. And assuming that doesn't happen, well, they can hold out until June 15th, at which point time then they sign, the restricted free agent tender, and then they show up.
Interesting stuff. The business of football off-season. San Diego made a move. Particularly, we thought maybe Darren Sproles would be out there. Now he's not. Can you explain that a little bit? What was their thinking with that situation?
I guess kind of similar to the situation here in Washington, with the Redskins letting go of Liddell Betts and, and Rock Cartwright, if they would have let, Clinton Portis go, you have no running backs. Well, you face that same situation in San Diego. They've already let go of LaDainian Tomlinson, and initially it was looking like they were going to let Darren Sproles go, but I guess, maybe there was some reconsideration there. Let's bring Darren Sproles back at the 1st and 3rd round tender is what it's being rumored to be, which, given the fact that he's coming off of the franchise tag number, is pretty significant investment in a Darren Sproles for 1 year. But, they decided that they at least want one back coming back from their previous season.
Now, the Redskins could theoretically be big buyers this offseason. Do you expect to see a lot more names released in the next couple of days that could be available, like the first list that we saw there, some players that they could pluck and choose from? And, of course, every other team will be looking to do that, too.
Right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how their philosophy in free agency remains the same, whether if they go, go after Julius Peppers, which seems very similar to their previous philosophy in terms of going to get the big name and making a big splash in free agency, or do they go for some bargain-type unrestricted free agents, or do they just kind of sit tight and say, look, we're not going to go after veteran players. We're just going to try to build this thing through the draft. But, you know, if the rumors of the Julius Peppers interest are true, then I find it hard to believe that there's a philosophical change in terms of roster building going on.
Mike Shanahan is willing to take risks on good players, too.
Absolutely.
It's one reason why it made sense he was hired.
But I guess
that was his history in Denver. So.
Within reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. J.I. Halsell, thanks for breaking it down for us.
No problem.
We'll be talking a little more football throughout the week. I mean, let's be honest. It's Redskins, and into next week, it's going to be a fun offseason. But coming up, he's undefeated in the ring, but how will Floyd Mayweather deal with my hard-hitting questions? He didn't want to get in the ring with me. All right, I'm just kidding. But I will have an interview with the man that called money. That's next. Remember, get involved with the show at 5 again, 11:30. Let us know how you feel about the Redskins moves or the fight coming up with Sugar Shane Mosley and that man right there, Floyd Mayweather. Text WPL and those comments to 68683. You'll be able to see them scrolling right there at the bottom of your screen. Come on back.